Well, a bombshell, a genuine bombshell in court filings from the special prosecutor John Durham looking into the Russia hoax. Tech executive number one and his associates exploited internet traffic pertaining to Trump Tower, the Trump apartment building in New York City, and also the executive office of the President of the United States. The president himself surveilled, had his internet comings and goings under surveillance by a private citizen. This would be worse than Watergate if it's true, and this is the allegation from a government prosecutor. I want to bring in Kash Patel, former deputy assistant to President Trump and chief of staff to the acting secretary of defense in the Trump administration. Kash, welcome to Newsmax. What do you think?
Oh, wow, Greg, thanks for having me. And I don't know where to begin. Look, as the guy who unraveled the Russiagate investigation as a chief investigator during Chairman Nunes, he and I have been talking. We've been talking to the president. None of us thought it could get this bad. They literally, as you led off, a private entity on behalf of a political opponent, Hillary Clinton, paid for access to the entire White House compound to infiltrate the servers of not just the office of the president, the National Security Council, the National Economic Council, the Trade Council, and the office of the Vice President of the United States.
It's pretty wild. You must have noticed, as I've noticed, the mainstream media are totally ignoring this story. This is a bombshell. They know this story. They know Mueller's part of this story well enough to know that this is genuine news. Yesterday on those talk shows, not one word. I can't believe it. I quite frankly, even for them, I find this hard to believe. Not a mention. How is this going to play out? I mean, they are just going to pretend it's not happening?
No, I think we're going to force it on them. Look, this, as bad as Russiagate was with the Steele dossier, this makes Watergate look like a parking citation. They spied and they used money from opposition research to go ahead and spy on a sitting president at his White House and his candidate. What's going to happen is these mainstream media are going to ignore this story for a few more days, and then they're going to start personally attacking us, me, Devin, the president, like they did 3-4 years ago. And then they're going to be forced to correct their stories in hiding late on a Friday night when no one's looking and say, oh, we might have gotten that Spygate thing wrong. And we were totally wrong when we said Trump was not spied on. And there's no way the Hillary Clinton campaign paid for any of it. They were wrong on all counts, so it's going to be impossible for them to admit it. But thankfully, your show is going to help, hold them to their feet, to their fire.
Well, the seeds were out there for a long time. I mean, if you were watching, you could tell when Attorney General Barr was testifying in 2019, he said out loud spying, and people were shocked. But I mean, people knew about, well, the campaign at least portion of this for a long time. Let's take a look at that, please. Any minute now.
So you're not suggesting, though, that spying occurred?
I don't, I guess you could, I think there's spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
It was pretty wild. Again, he was attacked. This could not, I think he may even have walked it back a little bit. But this is worse than anything he was saying and anything President Trump was saying, that he was being spied on while he was president. Why are we only learning about this now? I mean, this is news even to you, right?
Yeah.
You didn't know this was not in the cards. And this was now maybe 5 years ago. Why has it taken so long?
It's taken so long because when we were running the investigation in Congress, we had limited powers. When President Trump came into office, everyone, including Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and the like, were trying to take him down. And we are now finding out, thankfully, to John Durham's utilization of grand juries and federal prosecution powers. That's why it's taken so long, because we finally have a prosecutor who's willing to take it to the mats. And to uncover the fact that this story is the biggest political scandal and criminal scandal in U.S. history just helps the mainstream media sweep it under the rug. But John Durham has interviewed 24 people in the grand jury, to include CIA case officers, FBI agents and directors, leadership in the Clinton campaign cycle, and they've indicted her lawyer. So this is just starting. It's how you build a criminal conspiracy case, and they're not going to be able to ignore indictments once they start coming in full swing.
Now we have a picture here of Michael Sussman. He is the attorney who is working for Hillary Clinton's campaign. He was also working for the tech executive. Now, some will say, oh, Michael Sussman, who's that? Who cares? This is not that important. I'll refer everyone to Watergate. Look at some of the names of the people who went to jail during Watergate. They're not exactly household names, you know, Chuck Colson, Bud Crow. There are all kinds of people you never heard of that went down. Ultimately, the fish got bigger, but it started with people, you know, at this level.
You're absolutely right. It has to start somewhere. You cannot go on and infiltrate the White House servers and the White House internet by just doing it from the top. You have to have a team. And Michael Sussman and Mark Elias were the lead attorneys for the Hillary Clinton campaign who were paid millions and millions of dollars to perpetuate the Steele dossier fraud. And now we know they were paid millions and millions of dollars to go out and buy false information from a tech executive. And then here's the worst part. They secured a, quote, sensitive arrangement with someone in government to gain access to the White House servers. That means someone in government gave them permission and paid the contracting tech executive company's firm to allow that work to happen. That could only have been done with the utilization of the intelligence community willingly. And that, to me, is the biggest criminal scandal that we have yet to talk about.
Yes, and Sussman himself went over to the CIA, government agency number 2. Everybody understands it's CIA. And apparently, perhaps lying to the CIA is not a crime. You're not allowed to, seriously, I think you can, I mean, they tell lies all the time over there. 10 seconds, I only have 10 seconds left. John Durham, at any point in this process, were you frustrated because it didn't seem like a lot of progress was being made? And do you feel like finally, okay, he's going to deliver?
He's going to deliver. Of course, everybody gets frustrated. As a former federal prosecutor who brought international terrorism cases that were pretty complex, this guy's unraveling the biggest criminal conspiracy against the sitting president in the United States history. It's going to happen. Just give the guy a few more months. It's coming.
All right, Kash Patel, we appreciate it. To be continued, sir. And we'll be right back.
Thank you.